All right, y'all, right now, unfortunately, I'm in a bit of a rush. I can't put my face on, but there's a take that I really have to deliver to you desperately, very badly, because a lot of discussion on Twitter is happening over it right now. And not gonna lie, bro, this is kind of more important than me looking my most handsome, because people are genuinely not getting it, and it breaks my heart. Guys, I haven't even put my earrings in yet. Let me get little on you, okay? Right here. Boom. Someone said, nothing terrifies me more than raising a misogynist. Okay, and this one right here is you, men, daughter, or boy versus girl, son. Okay, earrings are in, I'm activated. So yeah, this, obviously, you don't want to raise a misogynist. That's a bad thing to do. However, where my issue lies is I feel like a lot of people think that this is like a just coin flip of a problem. Like, oh my gosh, like what if I have a child that ends up being a misogynist? Like the solution is flatly, don't raise a misogynist, which, as I said here, hot take, if you aren't a misogynist, it's actually quite easy not to raise a misogynist, okay? Now, I will say there are a few caveats here, okay? Not caveats, there are specific things I need to get into. This person says, nothing terrifies me more than raising a misogynist, right? What do they mean by misogynist? Because people in my comments, they made the argument, they're like, everyone has an ingrained level of misogyny, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, if you're talking about the ingrained level of misogyny everyone has due to societal conditioning, if everyone has misogyny, nobody has misogyny. And I don't mean that in a literal sense, but if everyone has misogyny and everyone just inevitably is going to have misogyny due to, the level of misogyny you're talking about due to societal conditioning, then nothing terrifies me more than raising misogynists. This statement doesn't mean anything, and then my statement doesn't mean anything. So there's no discussion to really hold on, gotta get littler on you. There's no discussion to really have about it. So I'm not gonna really humor that, but internalized misogyny, actually, let me get big on you real quick, is a part of the conversation, right? It's just like there's a level between when it's actually harmful and when it's just like a thing that's lying dormant within you. And I did misspeak in the tweet, hot take, if you aren't a misogynist, it's actually quite easy to not raise a misogynist. Here's the thing. If you're a competent parent, I should have said. If you're a good parent, I should have said. But apparently, according to this comment section, good parenting is such a shock, okay? But let me tell you my story, okay, of how I became not a misogynist. I feel like someone might come in and be like, oh, but you are a misogynist. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Anyways, and I've done reflecting on this, okay? I was like, why do I view women as such equals? And I think I probably mentioned it in a previous video a long time ago. And this is not me saying that this is just like copy and paste, like this is what would have to happen for every child. I'm just telling you anecdotally my situation. I grew up with a mom, two sisters, and yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, that's essentially it. But no, the thing is, my mother, who will be here in like an hour and 30 minutes. Anyways, my mother, she raised me the same exact way she raised my sisters, okay? There was never any sort of, oh, you have to do this for the women in your life, Bryce. Oh, you're the man of the house now. And what's funny is like, when I got to older ages, obviously, like, and when I say older, I probably mean like elementary school or stuff like that, like late elementary school. People would say things to me like, oh, so like, you're the man in the house. And I was like what? Like, what does that mean? And I think sometimes I'll say things like, no, my mom's the man of the house, right? Like, gender legitimately, I don't know if it's because I was like super autistic, was not a thing to me, okay? Like, my sister, me and her would get in arguments. She'd be like, be a man. I'd be like, what? I am. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't know she meant like basically like, oh, stop being cowardly, stop like crying, da 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 da. Like, because I'm a man, I was just like, and I have a penis. You know what I mean? Because my mother did not reinforce any of that. Because like my sister would say something like that and she'd be like, oh, he is, da 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 da. He can cry, he can show emotion, etc., etc. So she wasn't only like correcting that image that I would have in my mind, she was also correcting my sister for saying those things. And my sister, for that one in question, 4 years older than me, so like she would come into like things, into like narratives, like people would say propaganda before I would. And she raised us all off the values of, getting education, having a good career, making money, being successful for yourself. And I watched my mother work a job, sometimes two, to raise her 3 children. My father did not pay child support. My mom was super big on treat others how you want to be treated. Like, you're a little kid, you act out, you do something wrong, and then it's like, hey, how would you feel if someone did that to you? The only thing, like growing, and I'm talking about like as like a child, I felt about women or knew about women or thought like they were different was they look different than me. Like they tend to be smaller. They tend to have longer hair, stuff like that. So I'm not trying to imply that I was just completely gender blind. Like I knew there was a difference there. But my mom always instilled in me that we're all human beings. We've all have value. We all have value. And when I tell you, and I feel like this is the part that shocks people, my mom never told me women were oppressed or taught me anything about that. Or like, oh, like bad things happen to women because da 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 da. Like, and the thing, she used to watch Investigation Discovery. I don't know if you know what that channel is. I don't know if it's still running, but basically it's a channel where they do like murder mysteries and stuff. And, you know, oftentimes there are situations where it's like men, you know, killing women, killing these women they're dating, essaying them when they do it. And the thing is, I would, this is gonna make something my mom sound like a bad mom, but I would watch them with her. Okay, basically, long story. She ended up going to the hospital when I was in like second grade. Her lung collapsed. She almost died. It was whatever. It was a thing. Basically, that's when she started watching the show. We actually used to, and this is gonna become part of the conversation later. I did not watch TV. We in the house did not watch TV until my mom went to the hospital. Like, yes, like sometimes like we'd put on like a little like kid show, but like other than that, like we would do things like we'd listen to music, like we'd dance around the house. Like it sounds like probably like really crazy to you right now, especially if you grew up as like an iPad kid or something. But that's another thing. I did not have a phone until I was in high school. None of us did. None of my siblings. But anyway, she went out the hospital and then she couldn't really move around. So she kind of like, she couldn't entertain us. So she kind of just had to lay down with the TV on. And I always wanted to be with my mom. So I was like, hey, like, let's watch this show. I'd be on the ground, like playing with my Legos and watching Investigation Discovery. But, you know, then, you know, we'd talk about a murder and it would be like, oh my gosh, like that's horrible. You know what I mean? There was never any narrative of like, man, it's horrible. Men do this to women. Oh, you know, men go out and they, you know, essay women. Oh yeah, no, another thing. My mom super big on teaching me consent. Because the thing is, all children have consent issues, okay? And obviously consent is not solely sexual, right? It's not solely like that's not the only time consent comes into play. Consent comes into the fact like, hey, you want to watch this movie? No, you don't. You're watching it anyway. Like that is not, you know what I mean? Like that's you not consenting, you know, and our mom respected our consent within reason, right? And that taught us. Now, when I say within reason, I mean situations where it's like, mom, I don't want to go to school today. You have to go to school because it's school. I also, something I never heard in my life was because I said so. Never. My mom never told me that I had to listen to adults. Like anytime I got into something with like a teacher at school, yeah, like I got to argument with a teacher at school. It's fake because I'm just so argumentative to this day. But anytime that happened, there was never like, they're a grown up, you're a kid, you can't be doing this. Never was a thing. I was never told to listen to people. Now, mind you, okay, I was told to be like aware of what people were saying, you know what I mean? But I was never told to blindly follow instructions because someone was an adult. And like, I don't know if you think I'm getting off pace here, but like I'm not. Like this is all part of it. It's all gonna factor in. I was always, no matter what it was, able to ask questions and get genuine answers. Like my mom's like, hey, can you take out the trash? Why? She would tell me why. You know what I mean? Hey, mom, why do I have chores? Hey, mom, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Now, I promise you, it probably annoyed the fuck out of her. But there was never just because that's how it is, that's how I said so. There was always an answer. Not gonna lie, even even sometimes about little things, she would give me an answer that she didn't have. Like the thing is, I would ask her what a movie was about 3 times, right? And sometimes it's a movie she hasn't seen. So she would basically just describe 3 completely different movies to me each time I asked. And so funny, I'm sure she probably thought I wouldn't notice, but I absolutely did notice. I just didn't say anything. But you know what I mean? Questioning authority. That was something I was allowed to do. She explained things because she wanted me not to just do the thing. She wanted me to understand why the thing made sense. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, values of like treating others how you want to be treated, be a kind person. You want people being kind to you. No sense of, hey, racism is a thing. Hey, misogyny is a thing. It completely was never taught. And this is where I'm going to lose some of you. I was always just like, okay, this is a human, this is a human, this is a human. This human looks like me. This human doesn't look like me. But we're humans at the end of the day. And it's okay to acknowledge these differences as long as I'm not being mean to people or like seeing them as any lesser because they're not. They're just other people. And again, it's all women in my house. Okay, so growing up, I had no view, and I wasn't the kind of kid who was just like let out the house all the time. I had no view of gender relations really. Like there was no, this is how men and women interact. It's like, you know when like a cat grows up around dogs and like there's like a funny video, like the cat will like act like a dog or like the dog will act like a cat. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, we're just like people, like this is what we have to do. And it worked because my mom taught us the values of hard work, you know, making sure, you know, you're doing things so you can be set up for a successful place in life. And I mention this all the time. Like, I know there's the whole like provider man thing. None of my sisters, I mean, 2 of my sisters, I have 3 sisters. I didn't grow up with the other one, but 2 of my sisters they're not looking for a provider man type thing. Like, apparently my sister says like she's living in like a really misogynistic area right now. And like she'll try to pay and they'll be like actively mad with her, but that's just like how she is. Like she doesn't want to not pay because my mom taught us all to be self-sustaining human beings. and to be upstanding human beings, and treat others, again, like treat others with respect. I'm really just hammering that point home. Treating others with respect, you're all human beings. I think you can tell how serious I am about this because I've like not made any jokes. I'm so sorry if you came here for the laughs, but like there was not a single thing where my sisters were taught to do something differently than I, or vice versa. I mean, I'm sure like they got taught to like put in tampons or whatever. So yeah, like there was stuff like that. But I mean, like from beyond a physical sense, like, and again, I knew they were physically different than me. It's like I understood like don't hit women, you know what I mean? Because like there's like a physical disadvantage, but also don't hit anybody, especially anybody where there would be a physical disadvantage for that person. Not gonna lie though, apparently I did grow up fighting my sister a little bit, like throwing hands. But mind you, she's 4 years older than me, and this was probably like when I was like maybe like 4 or something like that. And basically, I would be minding my own business, and she would try to fight me. I promise that's how it goes. Like I would not initiate it. Like I would start crying, and then like she'd like get in my face. But obviously, you're a kid, you grow out stuff like that. When I tell you, when I was taught things about racism, things about misogyny, it happened either in school or like something happened, right? Like the whole like Trayvon Martin thing. And it's like I'm finding out like, oh, they killed him because he was black. And I'm like, what do you mean they killed him because he was black? Like, why would they do that? You know what I mean? And I was like, Mom, do they not like us? And she was like, some of them don't. And she was very big on the things I'm big on, where it's like, it's not every person. And if you act like it's every person, you become part of the problem. But anyways, after all that, I learned about, I want to tell you, nigga, I swear to God, I learned about misogyny freshman year social studies. I learned about it, and I'll have to take another story first. In 7th grade, we're being taught about Jim Crow laws, and I started laughing. And like people were looking at me crazy. But I was laughing because I was like, that's ridiculous. Why would they do that? I guess it's kind of like that dark sense of humor I have now where it's like, bro, like why would someone do that? Anyways, so 9th grade, learning about misogyny. I forgot what it was. It was like women couldn't vote until da 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 da. And I was like, what? Ha 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 ha. The teacher did not find that very funny. Okay. As a matter of fact, he was like, Bryce, I don't see what's funny about that. And I was like, oh shit. And that's when I found out women were oppressed. Okay. And let me tell you this, it was always, bro, let me get myself canceled here. It was always, growing up at that age was very hilarious to me because I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, why would they do that? Like, there's no way they would oppress women like that. And I don't mean no way as in like I didn't believe it. It's just like, why? Like, it didn't make any sense to me because I'm like, again, like I grew up with all women. We're all treated the same. I'm like, we're all just like people. Like the concept of people separating groups of people in order to be mean to those people is always kind of just a little bit funny to me. Like the second I found out colorism was a thing, I was like, dude, like seriously, we got like racism now. It's like, that's why I quit racism, too many sweat. But anyways, it was very jostling to me. And again, high school was around the time I got a phone. And, anytime, I mean, most of the time I'd watch videos on like the TV, but anytime like I was like, watching something or like, just like engaging with some form of media, like my mom, she'd maybe like come downstairs and like just see what I was doing. So I was never really like watching anything for an extended period of time, and like she didn't know what it was. Like, I used to watch Berlizzi videos, and like she would come downstairs, she'd be like, oh, who's this guy? She actually like became a Berlizzi fan herself. But you know what I mean? And again, this is relevant and based off the arguments that people are making. And oh my gosh, this is a great, okay, I remember one time when I was a little kid, bro, I was with one of my male relatives, and he called someone the F slur. And I'm a child, bro. I don't know what the F slur means. And I'm like, but the thing is, I knew he was referring to like a gay person. So I was like, okay, like that's what that means. So then one day I forgot what it was. I think I said, are they F slurs? Like I used it in front of my mom. And then she's like, Bryce, like what? Like, where'd you learn that? Like, you can't say that. That's a hurtful word, da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay. And, I learned the same, but I did learn that the N word was a hurtful word. Okay. Hurtful. My mom, super big on the words we use in the house. We couldn't say stupid. We couldn't say idiot, like as far as like calling like somebody that. So yeah, their slurs were completely out of the question. But it's like, I more so knew it as just like a bad word. And I want to say, I did not curse until I was I remember one time in middle school, they stole my book and wouldn't give it back until I said the N word. But after that, I probably didn't curse until like maybe my junior year of high school. And I respected my mom because like her whole thing was like, hey, you could say whatever you want when you turn 18 and you get out the house, but like please like use respectful language in here. I was like, okay. And I respected my mom because of how she raised me. She never raised me to fear her, be afraid of her. She raised me to respect her. And she never raised me in a way that didn't make sense. Like, she never raised me to be anything that she wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, she would never be like, oh, be kind to this group of people and not be kind to that group of people, right? And again, you have a lot of times where like this, and again, this is going to factor in later, where like women teach their sons like, hey, do this for women, do this for women, do this for women. That's why, again, they say single moms have so many misogynistic sons. Like, that's what people are doing. They're like, oh, You know, if if it's so easy, why do single moms have so much misogynistic sons? Women can be misogynist. Boom, mind blowing. I thought everyone knew that. But anyways, I'm gonna explain more in depth the problem with teaching your kid to be something you're not later on, and teaching, or more so teaching those things specifically. But yeah, I essentially learned about oppression very late in life. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my gosh, like these things are bad, these things are horrible. Went through a super like political phase in high school where I was like, oh man, these oppressors, just overcompensating really. Okay, but when I got to how do I advance, yeah, when I got to college, and also crazy part is if you factor in my relationships with women, like romantic relationships in high school, I've mentioned this before, but like my first girlfriend, like she used to buy me like lunch every day. My a few girlfriends after that bought me clothes, and then girlfriend after that would give me flowers. So this whole like chivalry thing, chivalry. I was never taught chivalry. What I was taught was general manners for all people. Like I was taught yes sir, yes ma'am for a bit, but then they kind of phased it out. But also what I was on was like, hey, hold the door open for somebody if they're coming in behind you, Like not simply hold the door open for the women in your life. Like legitimately, I was just taught being kind. Like just straight up, bro. Like that's all I was taught. And again, my mom, like when I was growing up, she was careful about the media. I literally could not watch a show where they called someone an idiot. Like SpongeBob, I wasn't able to watch it for much longer. I think after most people were able to watch it. And by that point, it was understood that I was not to call somebody an idiot. I was not able to call somebody stupid because I was not being kind to someone. But anyways, okay, college. And, I was just living my life, dating people, doing my thing. And then, everything with football happened. I almost died. And then I started TikTok. And then, that's why I made my TikToks. I was like, hey, I have dating stories. Let me talk about my dating stories, talk about my dating stories. And then eventually got accused of misogyny. And I was like, what? And the thing is, when I was taught misogyny, when I understood that, and not like taught to be misogynistic, but when I was taught that misogyny was a thing, I was like, okay, this sucks. They're people just like anybody else. They shouldn't be treated any different. They shouldn't be treated any different, right? And now, trust me, like grand scheme of things, I don't know, do they have affirmative action for women? But I understand like affirmative action, you know what I mean? Like, and like I understand the concept of, and it's not like traditional revenge, but like, yeah, you know what I mean? I get it. Don't get to it. However, there are harms in social perception of these people who do get affirmative action. That's just objectively true. However, that doesn't necessarily mean we should be anti-affirmative action. I feel like we should just understand the results of it. So anyways, on TikTok, I'm giving you like a mini life story here. On TikTok, I get called a misogynist, and I mentioned this before, and I was just so confused. And they're like, oh, it's because you date these women and da 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 da. And I was like, okay, but if I was dating men, I would do the same thing. What now? And they're like, I feel like they would kind of just ignore that. But my point is, truly, and people call me misogynist all the time. They tried to pull up these tweets of me saying that the B word, bitch, is not as bad as the F slur. Yeah, I stand on that. Like, you understand, when it comes to slurs, socialization of them matters. Like, yes, like if I refer to women as like B words and I'm like, oh, you guys are B words, da 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 da. Oh, B words ain't, SHIT. Yeah, that's a slur. But there's also a point of universal intergender reclaiming anyways of the word. And the thing is, like, linguistically, like this is like a real thing that like the people talk, like the linguistic experts talk about. I looked it up too. Like legitimately, the socialization around a word does matter. Okay, so the fact that I could be like, oh man, bro, it's such a bitch to wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so tough to do. That doesn't mean I'm thinking, oh man, it's a horrible woman to wake up in the morning. No, it's like the word bitch has transcended the word bitch. You know what I mean? Like I'm a bad B word. And I'm talking about me saying that. When people say the word like bitchin', like there's a point in wasn't like the 90s where bitchin' was like a positive thing. It was like, oh man, that shit really bitchin'. But now it's like, hey, like you're bitching, like you're, like stop bitching. YouTube, please don't demonetize me for saying that word so many times in a row. But like, you see my point. But like, if you say the F slur, you're always saying the F. Like there was no meaning even socially of the F slur that is not a slur. Like F slur means nothing else than F slur, than like, what it is. And it's like, you can't I mean, you could try, but you can't retroactively, single-handedly take the socialization out of a word. Like, I'm not saying it's no longer offensive just because, we hear that in songs, movies, and it doesn't really bad. And you know what I have as a personal rule of thumb? If someone can say the word, if two people who are not the group that it's oppressing, right? And I don't mean like yes, B words oppressing, but like I just mean like not in the group, because I'm talking about like any other group. If two people outside the group can use it in a conversation and it's not like, wait, why'd they say that? You know what I mean? Then it's then it's kind of like more of like a level 1 slur. You understand, like, idiot is technically a slur for mentally challenged people. Now, if you were to call a mentally challenged person an idiot, people would probably be like, whoa, like, what's wrong with you? But a friend could also call the other friend an idiot and not even think about mentally challenged people. Just, think about what they mean by it. Just like a man can call another man a B word and not think about women, just think about what they mean by it. Or again, like I said, you can refer to an inanimate object as a B word. You can wake up and say, oh, this act I don't want to do is a B word, things like that happen. And I'm not saying that takes away from the offensiveness of the word. Like that, I'm not saying that means it's no longer offensive when it's used in a particular context, but what I'm saying is, based off the socialization of the word, legitimately, I can use it in conversation, but something someone couldn't just do. A straight person couldn't use the F slur in conversation. Sometimes on a lot of applications, even a gay person can't say the F slur. On TikTok, they won't let me say the N word, bro. I've tried so many times. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, it's a slur, but also not all slurs are created equally. And I thought that was obvious, because if we're saying that, that all slurs are as bad as each other, are we saying that, let me think, the R slur is as bad as the N word? You know what I mean? Now, mind you, and trust me, I'm very anti-R slur. Like, I see people reusing the R slur, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what's wrong with you? Like, the only time I use the R slur is when I'm like, okay, someone is mentally R word. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that like in like, oh, they're just dumb. I mean like legitimately, like up there, that's what they are. But anyways, okay. And I forgot. I know where I was, but I forgot how I got to like that part of the conversation. But anyways, I got the misogyny allegations based off my TikToks, right? And it was basically because I was not giving women like special treatment. You know what I mean? Like, because they were like, oh, you're telling all these stories about women, da 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 da. Like, you should know, like, that makes you like a misogynist. I'm like, how? Again, I'm saying I would do the same thing to a man. If a woman did what I did to a man, I would also defend it. Like, what's the issue here? And obviously, a lot of that is just like social media feminism, social media activism in general, where it's like, oh, you can't do this or you're that. But it's like people on the internet are expected to treat like these oppressed groups like little baby things, and then they get called something when they don't. When really, the mark of equality is, again, if I would do this to a man, if I would hear, like, but it got to the point, bro, and I'm sorry I'm stammering a bit, it got to the point where they were punishing me for the fact that I date women. Like, they were equating my poor relationship or situationship tactics into, I was trying to put something in a bag, but then I realized the bag was broken. Anyways, they're equating that to hatred of a particular group rather than just bad dating behavior. You know what I mean? When it's like, if someone's the type to cheat, then, and now mind you, I'm not a cheater, bro. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But I just mean, like, I'm trying to give an example, because my thing is like, I was like, okay, I want to like date casually multiple people at once. And if someone wants to do that, they're going to want to do that. Just like if a cheater is a cheater, then they're going to cheat in a relationship. Like, that's just who they are. Like, they're not like, I'm going to cheat on women. And that's another reason why the narrative where it's like, oh, men who cheat on women are gay. It's like, you're undermining who cheaters are. Like, oh, yep, you betray people, but only this gender. Very ridiculous. But anyway, my point is, internally, I see men and women as equally competent, equally yoked. The only difference is, again, like some physicality, biological stuff. I don't think men and women have different like brains, like different, like, I mean, I'm sure maybe statistically like they do, but I mean, as far as like different, oh yeah, men are naturally like this, women are naturally like this. I believe that was all socialization. And again, me growing up the way I did, and me learning the things I learned and also not learning the things I didn't learn made socialization seem far more apparent. It's like I will wake up. What? Wake up. Bro, growing up is low-key waking up. Oh, message. Anyways, I grow up seeing women as equal, right? So then when I see people not seeing women as equal, whoa, why did this happen? Do your research, find out historically women have been oppressed. Oh, this is why people treat women like this. Oh yeah, there's an expectation that men open doors for women, but not the other way around, because they think women are weaker, okay? People think women, again, historically, and I'll tell you, bro, my dad told me this, which unfortunately my dad is a misogynist, right? But he wasn't in my life growing up. He told me, he was like, oh, women, they're not really good with money. Like, they can't handle money. So, like, that's why the man needs to work. And I'm like, oh, you're tripping. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I kind of was in like a straight, like, not even Adam and Eve, because there was nothing like sexual there, but just this Adam and Eve situation. I was growing up, bro, and I was like, yep, we're human beings. You know what I mean? But then it's like when I ate the apple and realized everything, I was grown and I had already had the teachings of, yo, we're just like people, be kind to others. Very simple stuff. And the thing is, I don't know if you're going to meet my mom today, but at some point I want you to meet my mom. And if you meet my mom, I feel like you'll understand why I was treated, why I was raised to treat people with kindness. And I know you're going to think, oh, you don't treat people with kindness. Trust me, I do. Y'all don't get it. I'm actually a very kind man, unless I get provoked. But also, I'm very independent, which is part of it, because the thing is, imagine my dad tells me women aren't good with money when I'm like, I don't know how old I was when he said that, but maybe like a couple years ago, right? I was never taught to just sit there and listen to what an adult had to say and agree with it for the sake of it. I was arguing with adults when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and now as a young adult, I argue with much older adults, people with experience. Again, I will never subscribe to the ideology of, oh, you're not a woman, you can't talk about this topic. Oh, you're not this, you can't talk about this topic. If I have a take, I'm going to say it because I'm a human being, okay? I still have thoughts. I'm still able to think these things, especially, bro, like when it's like a general, like moral debate, like please get out of here, okay? But my point is, again, the way I was raised, I was able to, and I'm sure I encountered all sorts of propaganda. Oh yeah, no, I did. There was this one time in the locker room, I mentioned the story before, where basically I was dating this girl at the time, and impressionable age, probably like 16? Probably like 16, 15, something like that. Impressionable age, right? And this is where people in the comments are like, hey, they're going to start listening to their peers. My peer told me, he was like, next time you're alone with your girl, because I wasn't sleeping with her, and then they were like, oh man, like, why aren't you sleeping with her? And I was like, I don't know. But they were saying, hey, if you want it to happen, just pull your penis out, and then she'll know what to do. And you know what that is? I mean, it sounds like sexual harassment. It sounds like baby steps on the way to SA, because like, what do you mean she'll know what to do? And it's like, if she doesn't know what to do, you're just gonna pull your pants back up? I would hope so, but I feel like those people maybe would do something a little bit more nefarious. You see how excited I am to talk about this, bro? Not this specifically, but just like this topic overall, like this video, right? But anyways, it's like I hear something like that, and then I'm like, no, I'm not doing that to somebody. Like that's very weird, because I would not like that done to me. And I heard a story about this guy, and he was like in middle school, bro. He punched this girl in the gut after they had relations because he was telling her to pee so she wouldn't get pregnant. And it's like, for one, that's not how that works. But I was like, that's wrong. You know what I mean? And it wasn't even from the lens of me. I was like, bro, that man hit a woman, da 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 da. I'm like, why would he punch somebody? Like, obviously I knew men shouldn't hit women because the whole thing, but I'm like, why would he punch somebody? You know what I mean? Especially in the gut, and like force them to do something they don't want to do. Again, I was taught autonomy. I was taught how important autonomy is. Again, these teachings I had, kept me from falling for things like peer pressure. Like, did I want to be accepted? Of course. But I was like, bro, I'm not just going to completely throw all my values out the window to be accepted. My upbringing and my mother taught me to interact with these things that I am seeing responsibly. And that when something doesn't make sense to me, ask questions until it does make sense, okay? And if those questions are never really answered, then it doesn't make sense, okay? And I can't agree with that take, especially if the opposite way makes a lot more sense. And also, a big part of it is, how I said the F slur in front of my mom? I'm sure there were other things like that happened to me growing up. But like I said, my mom didn't raise me to fear her, right? Like I was never afraid. I've never in my life been afraid to tell my mom anything. There are some things I didn't just because I didn't, but I was never afraid, okay? If I was introduced to a new concept, I would bring it up to her, and she would talk to me about it. She'd ask my thoughts on the issue, and she would kind of, I don't know, say if I had more radical thoughts, I'm sure she'd probably steer me in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like if I came home and I was like, hey mom, I think women belong in the kitchen. And she'd be like, why? Do you want to stay in the kitchen all the time? And I'd be like, no. And she'd be like, then why would they? And I'd be like, I don't know. And then she'd be like, there's your answer. You know what I mean? It would be something like that. Like that's not, I guess, it might be difficult, bro. Maybe my words for the tweet were not too solid, but I genuinely don't think that's something that's hard to do. Now, parenting overall hard, but raising a child that's not a misogynist when you are not a misogynist, I don't see that to be an issue. And honestly, my mom just talked to me in general. Oh, how was school? Hey, how you been feeling lately? Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like, these are, oh my gosh, sorry if the microphone just peaked. But these are normal conversations, I thought. But apparently not. Because now it's finally time to get into the discussion, okay? Hot take, it is not hard for you to not raise a misogynist. I said it was easy. It was easy to not raise a misogynist if you are not a misogynist yourself. Now, some people thought I was pandering here, right? Some people thought I was pandering until they realized that the women didn't like this take. Basically, people thought I was talking about like a misogynistic man. Like, hey, like you can't be a misogynistic man and raise a non-misogynistic child. The thought in my mind, bro, because the things I feel like Sloth, this person who tweeted the whole thing about nothing terrifies them more, I figured that was like a woman. I was talking about women who are misogynistic. I was talking about women who are benevolent. Bro, Monte, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I woke up and I started recording this instantly, I swear to God. Benevolently misogynistic. And, if you don't really, I mean, I'm sure you know what benevolent misogyny is, but if you don't really see how that could be a problem, you know what I mean? Like the problem of like not giving women privilege, but like giving women privilege. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And when I say that, I don't mean like women have privilege. Like I just mean like giving, like someone can have privileges and not be privileged. Okay, we understand? So I basically saw this guy post a TikTok, and I'm going to make a TikTok about this TikTok, but I feel like this just, it too purposefully fits what I'm like talking about for this conversation right here. He's basically saying that you have to be tougher on boys. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It took me forever to get the headphones on. Let me get a little bit littler on you. Yep, here we go.
End of the day, I realized I will definitely be harder on my boys than I am with my girl. I have 3 daughters right now. I plan to have more because, yes, we are shooting for a boy. But everyone likes to tell me, Dom, you're really, really soft on your daughters. Wait till you have a son. And I always knew you have to be a little rougher with the boys.
Why? Why do you have to be that way?
A little bit more stern with the boys.
Why?
And it was a simple thing that opened my eyes to it. Today, my nephews were getting out the car, and my wife was like, you're not going to open the door for them? They can do it they damn self. Hey, open the door and get out the car, man. Let's go. Now, their sister, my little niece, man. Love that little girl. Hold on. Don't you touch that door. Don't you touch that door. I'll be damned if my niece or my daughters touches the door when they get out the car or in the car. And I don't know how to explain it. It's something primitive. I don't know. It's like,
primitive. I think the term being looked for is societally conditioned, and it's misogyny. Anyways, I'll get to more of that later.
Man, you can do it on your own, boy. But when it comes to my girls, my wife,
you can do it on your own, boy. I want you to remember that.
My daughters, my nieces, my mother. Don't you touch any. I got you. Trust me, I've been through this. So when my baby boy finally does get here, when we try for him, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be a little tougher on him. It is what it is.
And someone said he is raising men, not boys, smart dad / uncle. So yeah, again, I'm gonna make a TikTok addressing this, bro, which hopefully people listen to me. But yeah, see, that's a problem. You know why he probably thinks that you have to be tougher on boys? Because probably whoever raised him, and this is no shade, like this is a very common thing. Probably whoever raised him was also tougher on boys. And when you are tougher on boys, it also makes them resent being a man a little bit. And what I mean by that is they're being like showing men that their life has to be a little bit harder because they're a man. Hey, you have to be tougher. You can't cry. You can't be emotional because you're a man. Why would they enjoy that experience? Okay. And then they go over and they look at women and they're like, oh my gosh, those women, they can just say whatever they want as far as like being emotional. And, they can say whatever they want. Oh man, they get people to hold doors open for them. Oh man, bro, dad, he's so much nicer to my sister than he is to me. Oh man, I gotta do all this like physical labor, but my sister doesn't have to. Oh man. Now again, the person who made that video, a lot of people, especially a lot of women, are not gonna call him misogynist. People aren't gonna call out that kind of misogyny. But those boys growing up, seeing women actively being, because I remember I told you, my situation treated exactly the same as my sister's, right? But growing up, seeing women get what they deem to be special treatment, and mind you, as a kid, you can't process why this may be, right? Like you don't really have, like I said, when I was older, I was able to look back and be like, okay, history of oppression, that's why people infantilize women. And it's not really as much of a privilege as it is straight disrespect. Again, like my dad, oh yeah, like he, mind you, provider man, he'll pay for all of a woman's things. I don't think he did with my mom though. But like, oh, like he's paying for women's things, blah, 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 giving them money, blah, 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 because women aren't smart with money. Women can't handle money, right? Oh, you have to be softer with your daughters because they're girls. Don't let them open doors. They can cry, blah, blah, blah. But your son, he has to sit there, be tough, open all his doors. Nothing. You got to prepare him for the world. I'm sorry. I know dads be saying like stupid shit. Oh, you got to prepare him for the world. You see those videos of someone getting in their son's face, screaming, and then people in the comments who had abusive fathers are like, this is what I needed. And it's like, no, bro, like this is why you hate yourself and women. Because again, like people talk about men being jealous of women all the time. That's where that comes from. You know what I mean? Like where that jealousy comes from for, I'd say most men, is growing up and seeing women get, I don't know, I mean, get off easy. My bad, I put the quotes on the wrong part. Like, and I'm telling you this right now. My childhood, again, we were all treated the same. Are you telling me that if I were to have my mom open the doors for my, say there was a dad there, because if you want to say that mom wouldn't do that, say there was a dad there and he opened the door for all my sisters, let them cry and comforted them. I couldn't cry, tell me to toughen up, man up all the time. Are you telling me that I wouldn't grow resentment towards women because I feel like they're being treated better than me, even at a societal level? And this is the problem that people get. At a societal level, most people would know, like, okay, yes, women are getting oppressed, but in an interpersonal level during formative years, sorry, alarm went off. Interpersonal levels during formative years, they're not going to recognize that. All these 13, 14-year-olds are going to see, oh, well, women get this and I don't. And then some Andrew Tate, and let me think of another misogynist, sneako type guy comes on. Oh man, women get privilege. This is why. Oh, we treat women like this because of this. Because again, mind you, a mother can teach her son, hey, you pay for the date, you open doors for women, da 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 da. And like she's saying it with like good intentions, but then he sees Andrew Tate say it, or someone like my dad says it, it's because women aren't good with money. Because women can't handle stuff like that. They can't be responsible. Women shouldn't drive because women aren't as good of drivers. Like those are the narratives that people push. So it's like a lot of people, and in this comment section, I know for a fact they don't know, bro. You see me leveling up with this take right now. In this comment section, I can see that they don't know the take that they're actually making. A lot of people, without thinking, because they're like, oh, I don't hate women. They show their sons that there should be differences between the ways men and women are treated. And then someone comes along, and Andrew Tate of the world comes along and explains, hey, these differences are because of this. They're lesser. This is why this better thing that they get happens, because they aren't as good as you, because they aren't as capable of you. And that's when they fall into the pipeline, because what their parents are saying, what mom and dad are saying to do, lines up with what Andrew Tate is telling them to do. They just have different motivations, okay? And then that's when they can get in the Andrew Tate sphere, the red pill sphere, and that's when they can see, like, get the steps taken, and it gets taken so far. Oh, bro, I'm sorry, bro, I ate that shit up, bro. You know what I mean? And one take, that's just an ironclad take. That, like, there's no arguing with it. Because a lot of people in that comment section are probably like, oh, well, I didn't teach my son to be a misogynist, or, oh, I'm not teaching my son to be a misogynist, and, oh, this happened, da da da. Are you teaching him to not be a misogynist? Or are you telling him to hold doors open for women? Oh, you have to pay for the first date. Oh, you should pay. Now, bro, if you're teaching a kid this, you genuinely shouldn't have a kid. But, oh, you have to pay for hair, nails, stuff like that. My mom taught me to respect women in the best possible way by showing me that men and women were no different. There was no, hey, Bryce, historically, people treat men badly, so now you have to overcompensate by doing this. That never happened. She allowed me to be a human being, and she allowed my sisters to be a human being, and was like, you're all human beings, be nice to one another. So that's why a lot of people on the internet aren't comfortable with my respect for women, because they deem respect as infantilization. They think it's the same thing. Like someone in the comments says, oh, someone with sisters, they grew up seeing the horrors that women go through, how they're oppressed so bad. How could they grow up and still be a misogynist? It's because either there was no conversation about it at all. Okay, people don't talk to their kids. That's a big thing. Or the image was painted as, this is a problem that happens to women and women only. It's, oh, a man is doing this to the woman, rather than a human being is doing this to a human being, right? You know what I mean? If you base your teachings to your child off gender, they will have gender-based thinking. And gender-based thinking is voila, where the misogyny comes from. That's why, because people in the comments are like, oh, a misandrist will raise a misogynist, blah, blah, blah. Because it's some like incel dudes being like, oh, they're going to teach the son to like hate himself and blah, blah, blah. That's not always it. Misandrist and misogyny are two sides of the same coin. Two sides, okay? Because if you look at it in the way of, think about a misandrist take that you'll see on social media, right? It will be like, hey, use men for money. They're stupid. Use men for money. Them telling you to use men for money is them accepting a situation. And oftentimes they'll say as much, accepting a situation where they're exploiting other women, and they're justifying the exploitation of other women. Like, and I've seen it all the time when someone compares dating to sex work. I saw this girl, like, she's literally like, her whole thing is that she's a misandrist, like self-proclaimed and everything. She's like, if you date a man and you go 50-50, he's not providing for you, you are paying a pimp to have relations with you. And it's like, what do you mean a pimp? Like, why is that the exchange? Again, the notion where some women feel like, or some women and men feel like having relations with a man is doing him a favor. Oh, having this person's lady parts is a gift, but like on the other side, it's just something, it's like a, not a duty, but it's like you're doing them a favor. You're getting nothing out of the exchange, which again, sometimes if you want to talk about the O gap, sometimes the women don't get anything in exchange. And that's a problem too. But it's like, if you expose like, hey, my lady parts are a gift, okay, and you better acknowledge them as a gift, that opens yourself up to objectification. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't say like, oh, I'm giving this to you as a gift, and then not be surprised. And then be surprised when someone sees your lady parts as something to strive for, as like a prize, rather than just like, oh, mutually enjoyable activity of pleasing each other. You know what I'm getting at? Like the people who are like, oh, yeah, men should pay all the bills because women have to cook and clean, da 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 da. It's like, you hate that system, but it's like you're still abiding by it. So like, misandrists oftentimes don't just hate men. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference, right? So it's like, you can be extremely male-centered and a misandrist, okay? Like, oftentimes, like, it can't not be like that. Like, the least centered you can have men is having a literal indifference to them. But again, a situation where you're like, oh man, women have to cook and clean all the time, so men have to pay all the bills. You're perpetuating the same system that you're complaining about. You're just complaining about it while you're doing it. So it's like, yes, misandrists raise misogynists because misandrists are misogynists. Oh, actually, bro, I should have saved this take because I feel like I should make a longer video about it. I feel like that would look good as a headline. Like, oh, misandrist and misogynist are the same thing, And okay, let me say, oh, you better forget this part. Okay, ignore it for later. Okay, I'm obviously not gonna show you all the replies to the tweet because there's like 309 over like 1,000 reposts. Okay, there'd be a lot to tell you, right? So basically, the first thing people are saying is, oh, well, societal conditioning. Oh, society, the internet, society. Bro, I'm gonna tell you one thing, and I'm not gonna lie, if someone goes from that comment to that, they're gonna be mad that I'm not addressing that in like the first 5 minutes. I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro. A lot of people are overplaying the effects of propaganda on children. And I'm not saying propaganda isn't powerful, and I'm not saying propaganda can't be used on children. What I'm saying is, I feel like a lot of people were underplaying it for so long that now they feel like they have to be like, oh, wait, I gotta catch up and now like acknowledge how bad propaganda is and act like it's some insurmountable thing that no parent can do anything to stop. There's one thing. Someone said, oh, well, this is like saying it's easy to not raise a murderer if you're not a murderer. Yeah. Like, the fuck are you talking? You know how rare it is to raise a murderer? And again, like, people think I'm speaking in absolutes here. I said it's easy to not raise a misogynist. I didn't say it was impossible. I just mean the blueprint is there. But anyway, it's like, what do you mean? That's like saying it's easy to not raise a murderer. Literally, like, look at the less than 0.1% of people have raised a murderer. Like, what are you talking? Like, bro, murdering is not common. But anyways, propaganda, right? Yes, it's a real thing. Yes, it can influence your kid. But if you are a competent parent, which again, I should have said competent parenting, you don't give your, because everyone's like, oh, the internet. Who's forcing you to give your kid access to the internet? And when I say people are literally making an argument, they're like, oh, but like then they go to school and everyone they know is on the internet. Did you forget what your parents told you? If everyone jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? Like, oh, mom, everyone has this. Everyone having it doesn't mean you have it. Everyone else's parents giving it to them doesn't mean you have to give it to them. Like, again, I didn't have a phone until I was in high school. Why are there 10-year-olds with phones? What does a 10-year-old need a phone for, bro? They get on the bus to go to school, get on the bus to go back, or you go and pick them up. Why would they need a phone? There are other things you can give to entertain your child. Books, games. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, even when you give your kids access to the internet, you don't have to give them unfiltered access. You don't have to give your child a Twitter account. And someone asked me, they're like, oh, but like when you were a kid, didn't you make those accounts? Now mind you, they brought up some random shit. They said MySpace. Ooh, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I had no idea what they were on about. But like, legitimately, I never signed up for anything without asking for my mother's permission. You know, like when I was like a kid, like literally, like even like Club Penguin. I was like, hey, mom, can I have a Club Penguin account? And she's like, what is it? And I explained to her what it was. And she's like, okay. And then like she looked through it like a little bit. And then she was like, yeah. Like again, like a lot of these people had really shitty parents. I didn't realize how rare it was. Because, oh, yeah, I remember someone was like, oh, you know, if you restrict their access to the internet, it's like telling teens they can't have sex. They're going to find a way to. I'm telling you this right now. It's extremely easy to make sure your teenage child is not having sex. Like literally very, very easy. Okay. Location, not letting them leave the house with just anybody, not leaving them. I'm so sorry. You can see I'm so excited to talk about this, but leaving the house in general, completely optional. Like you don't have to let them go somewhere outside of like school organized functions. Okay. And I know that better than anybody. But anyways, it's like when you give your kid access to the internet, you don't have to give them unfiltered access. You don't have to give them access to fucking Twitter when they're 12 years old. And again, it's like there are people arguing with me with this and they're like 15 on Twitter. And it's like, bro, like, please. You can ask what their account names are, go through their accounts, see what they're interacting with. Like, these are things that parents do. Like, my mom, again, she knew when I had social media what the deal was with it. And if I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, she'd be like, hey, Bryce, stop doing that. I'd be like, okay. And it's just so ridiculous, the notion. And also, again, I could talk to my mom about anything. So if I saw some propaganda, I could just be, it wouldn't be, and this is the thing a lot of people aren't understanding, because they're talking about like kids being like super young. And I'm like, okay, how young? I'm like, are you telling me 5-year-olds are going to school and learning misogyny? And they're like, yes. They're basically telling me yes, okay? Because they're like, oh, you know, some person could have heard his dad say the B word and they're going to repeat that at school. For one, a kid mimicking another child they hear say the B word is not misogyny. It's a child mimicking something that they heard. Like, I don't think that child has a deep found hatred for women now that he heard the B word once and is now deciding to say it. Like, literally, at what age do you think children actually start to know what they're saying? Okay, I promise you it's not 5, and I don't think it's 6 either. Like, for one, do we automatically see how ridiculous this is? Like, do we see how ridiculous of a thing this is? But again, this is an example, okay? Say your kid starts saying the B word. Like I told you, when I was a little kid, I heard someone say the F slur. I repeated it in front of my, because I didn't know anything was wrong with it. And she corrected me when I said it. So this kid, when they're like 5, 6, 7, they're not gonna hide this shit from you, bro. Like if they hear the B word, they're not gonna be like, ooh, can't tell mom, can't tell dad. Like that's not how kids work, okay? Like the point where they start hiding things from you is probably, I'm gonna be generous, preteen to teen years, okay? And the thing about that is they'll only hide stuff from you if you put them in a position where they feel the need to hide things from you. Like I said, I was comfortable telling my mom everything because even if it was something I did wrong, a wrong thought, I'm not just gonna get hit. You know, I mean, I'm not just going to get yelled at. I'm going to get explained to why that's wrong and I shouldn't be doing that. But I forgot a lot of you, I'm not going to say you, a lot of Twitter people at least did not have good parents and had parents that they were scared to tell things to. So they felt the need to hide certain things. And also parents who didn't have conversations with them about the media that they're consuming. Like, again, it's really that simple. I'm not going to lie. And again, even before that point where they start to, you know, branch out a bit, talk to their peers, you can raise them to approach these things critically, okay? To hear someone say, hey, this person's different from this person, you should disrespect them based off that. These people are lesser because they look different than you. You can train your kid to be like, wait, that doesn't make sense. The same way I heard about misogyny, I was introduced to misogyny, I was like, nah, that's not real, that's not right. I did not mean to say not real, but I mean like not like a real, like, oh, like real nigga, like not a real nigga mindset and being misogynist. Thought I paused. But you get what I'm saying? It's like, how do you think non-misogynistic people exist? Now, mind you, yeah, is it rare that someone's not misogynistic? Yeah, you can say that. But it's like, do you think they don't see the same propaganda that you see? And again, mind you, I promise you, everyone in my comment section, everyone in my quotes disagreeing with me, they think they're not a misogynist. Good amount of them probably are. But it's like, you understand, you raise your child and give them, of course, outside factors matter, but it's like you give them the building blocks of how to be a person, how to interact with information. So if they get to that age where they're like 14 and they're interacting with this information, they hear some misogyny and they instantly absorb it, that's your fault because you didn't raise them to be independent, ask questions, to disagree with someone even they care about or someone that they like or a group that they like or want to be a part of. Like if my mom taught me to just go along with the things that people say, don't you think that I would just be agreeing with these like thousands of people trying to argue with me? Like it just doesn't make sense, okay? It's like I'm not undermining the effects of, you know, things out there, right? But it's like there's a reason why most people who go down criminal paths come from homes that aren't really good like that, okay? And a lot of people would say, well, also the area is not good. And I would say yes, but like those things kind of correlate a bit, don't you think? And again, when you talk about being raised from a bad home, even think about affluent individuals where the parents aren't really present in their kids' lives. And these kids out there, they're at parties. It's like euphoria. They're doing drugs because their parents don't care about them. Like those are also situations, right? Like if someone rich in an affluent position like that grows up with mom and dad, loves on them, tells them to respect others, teaches them the proper things, have conversations with them about not only just how they feel as a human being, but also the media that they're consuming. Don't you think statistically those people are far better off than affluent individuals who don't have that, right? Just like, don't you think statistically someone who lives in a bad neighborhood but has a loving mom, loving dad, and just a loving family, teaches them to respect others, are better off than people in that same neighborhood who don't have those things? Like, this is common sense, bro, but people are stupid. And it's like, I can't believe that I'm getting like, people are trying to drag me through the mud for advocating for good parenting. And people are like, oh yeah, you're getting eaten up in the comments. Bro, I don't fucking care, bro. Now y'all can eat me up breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm still right. Because I'll tell you what these people do, okay? They disagree strongly, right? They disagree strongly. And then they have maybe one point to be like, no, it's not like that because of this. But then when I bring up, hey, well, you can do something like, oh yeah, like when say, I'm gonna give you a specific example. They say, oh, but the internet though. And I'm like, okay, at what point does a child need access to the internet? You know what I mean? Like, at what? Because someone will be like, oh yeah, like a 9-year-old will see like a YouTube video that says something. For one, dude, I was not watching political videos on YouTube at any point of my upbringing. But it's like, they'll say something like that, and I'm like, okay, so you're telling me, for one, not only does a 9-year-old need unfiltered access to the internet for whatever reason, but also, if you do give them unfiltered access, that you can't see what they're watching, that you can't like tell what's going on and have conversations with them about it. You're telling me that if a child goes to school and hears a kid call another kid the B word and then goes home and calls his sister the B word, that you can't talk to him about that and resolve the issue as to why he shouldn't say the B word? It's like I say something like that, and then they're just like, no, and they literally throw attention. Like, you can go through this thread, bro. Like it's very rare that someone gave me a point and then I give a counterpoint and then they counterpoint my counterpoint. Like, literally, it's like they counter and then like I keep disagreeing and they just don't know what to do about it. Again, y'all should have been raised better. Like, they literally lose all composure. And here's the thing, okay? Look, I know on Twitter you can only say so many words. Maybe people took what I said the wrong way, didn't think about it all the way, but it's like when people get proven wrong, they love just insisting, nope. That's why everyone's like, nope, it's the outside factors, it's the outside sources, da 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 da. And it's like, yes, those matter, but you can also teach your kid how to interact with those outside sources in a responsible way and talk to them about what they're seeing if you are a good parent. And bro, they say stupid shit where it's like, oh, if you don't give them a phone, they're just gonna peek on their friend's phone at school. I'm like, you're telling me them peeking through their friend's phone at school during passing time, they have what? They have like 30 minutes at lunch and they're looking on their friend's phone. You think they're going down the 4chan incel pipeline? Like, bro, like, look, I don't know how you started at the beginning of the video. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree. You have to agree with me at this point. They're being ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? You literally raise your child and teach them how to interact with outside stimuli. It's like you taught that, bro. Like you're the parent. Like, you're like, what do you think parenting is? And someone's like, oh, personal experiences are more important than upbringing. Bro, being upbrung is a personal experience. Like, it's actually crazy. And mind you, again, I didn't speak in absolutes. I didn't say it was impossible to raise a misogynist if you weren't a misogynist. I said it was easy because these are simple concepts that I'm giving you. And my mom literally degree in childhood development. And I've talked to her about like how she decided to raise us, blah, 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 and how that's affected us. So it's like, I at least vaguely know what I'm talking about, okay? But the thing is, it's clearly common sense. Like, if you look me in the eye and tell me that you can teach your child to think critically, okay? Respect all others, that human beings are human beings and that you shouldn't treat somebody different just because of color of skin, gender, race, sexual orientation, anything of the sort. If you're telling me you can and to interact with outside stimuli responsibly, to question things, to not just instantly absorb something that's said. If you're telling me that you can do that and you still essentially have a coin flip of whether or not they become a raging misogynist, racist, whatever of the sort, you are intellectually dishonest. And that is my point. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying people who act like it's a coin flip scenario of just like, my gosh, I have a son, I hope he doesn't end up being a misogynist. Like, that's not primarily within your control. But again, kids learn from behavior they see, behavior that's accepted, modeling. So if your kid is being misogynistic, being racist, and you can't fix it, that is your fault. Like, and again, bro, the people in the comments are acting like the second, because they were like, oh, they're being taught misogyny in schools. They're acting like the second a child steps foot on school, they're instantly in the Gotham City of misogyny. In every other, and because they're like, oh, it's what the other kids show them, and all of a sudden, all of the other kids are like DC villains of misogyny. They're each child has their own personal Andrew Tate escort them from class to class. Like, this is classic chronically online taking. Okay, like there was no gender war going on at school where you could fall into like the wrong circle. There was no red pill when you're in elementary school, bro, or even middle school or high school, but obviously much less in elementary school. Now, again, are there moments where propaganda is spewed, or moments where someone like expresses something? Oh, my dad told me this, da 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 da. Now, mind you, good teachers can also correct this, but yes, every once in a while there's a moment where a kid says something and it's like, okay, that's probably misogyny. And then that's why you teach your kid to ask you questions. That's why you ask them questions about how they hear, what they hear and how they feel about it. Like, this is not a foreign concept. And again, going to school is not Gotham City for a child. It's like people are acting like every child goes to school and completely ignores their parents, and it's just a lost cause. And that's my issue with these people, because it's like you're completely undermining the power of parenting and you're reducing all sorts of accountability. And then there are people who are saying misogyny, like people are born with it. That is very enabling of misogyny, because it's like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. They're born with it. And then people are going to point to, oh, well, they were born with it for a reason because it's right. Da, 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 da. Classic red pill shenanigans. But you see what I mean, bro? Like I don't know how much more I can say. Parenting matters. It matters, bro. And it matters. I want to say more than those external forces. Reason being, how you raise them internally, like I said, but shows them how to interact with those things when they happen. Again, if you don't teach your child to question things they see, they're just gonna be like, okay, this happened. Yep. Okay, fine, whatever. If you don't teach your child to think critically, if you don't teach them to come back to you and talk to you about it, if they are curious about something, if you don't ask them questions just to find out where their general mind is at when it comes to things, that is on you. And that is not me diminishing the effect of this can happen at school. Oh, this can happen if they're given unfiltered access to the internet when they're 7 for some reason. Don't give your kids unfiltered access to the internet until they're 7. Not until they're 7, when they're in 7. Do not give children unfiltered access to the internet, bro. It's not that hard of a concept. And it's like, I feel like there are so many people here where now we're on this chronically online age of like giving little kids iPads and stuff like that, where they can't even imagine a 10-year-old without a phone. And when I tell you, it's not as common as people think. Actually, it might be as common as people think, but it's not as necessary as people think. And there are some people coming to the comments being sensible, being like, bro, these people are tweaking, not taking accountability for parenting, da 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 da. But yes, as you are YouTube and not Twitter, I'm sure you're gonna say that like I made sense in like the first 5 minutes of talking, and that these people are all idiots. But I was dealing with so many idiots that I had to come here. I had to come here and deliver you the stuff. And my mom, she's gonna be here. Hold on, let me see if she texted me. Oh yeah, I'm wrapping up the video, by the way. My mom, she's gonna be here soon, I think. I don't know, cause she landed. Oh yeah, she landed. Oh sweet, yep. She's heading over to the crib right now. I'm actually gonna call her because I'm seeing when she gets in. Like, I don't know, she's probably not gonna want to be on camera, but like I'll have her like maybe be like, hey, I'm the guy he was just talking about, and yeah, then I'm gonna call it a day after that. And as far as big state, again, like I'm starting like the move right now, getting a bunch of shit around. So the big state of affairs probably will be after the move. Maybe I don't want to have it when I'm in Arizona. Maybe I'll tell you about Arizona a little bit, but again, I want the big state of affairs to be when I'm in my new place. So like it can be like kind of like celebratory. Actually, she did not answer the phone, man. I don't know what's going on with her. She's supposed to be here like now. So I might just wrap it up. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I kept recording. I'm still waiting to hear from my mom, by the way. It's been, for you, it's been like no time. For me, it's been like, I don't know, maybe like 5-10 minutes. Bro, the reason, okay, another thing, it's about the misogyny thing. So I recorded the TikTok and I realized when you are raising a child, right, and you're teaching them these acts of benevolent misogyny, oh, women need this, oh, son, women are just a little bit more sensitive. Oh, you have to be extra, like, slow and patient with her, more patient than you'd be with other people. Now, again, because I feel like you should be patient with people in general. But if you're implying that, like, hey, you need to be more patient with women, okay, you need to pay for them, okay, they're financially unstable. These are the things that lead to these big picture situations, like people not voting for Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? And people say it's because of like policies and stuff like that, which for a lot of people it was. A lot of people genuinely didn't agree with policies. But there's also plenty of people who did not vote for her because, oh, a woman couldn't run the country, blah, 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 blah. And obviously, that's not true, but that's what they say. And it's like, what do you think gets that in their head? Do you think it's just like the, ooh, I'm angry at women misogyny? No, it's them being raised off the fact that women are less capable. They think women are less capable. So why would you raise men to think women are less capable? It's actually insane. Bro, my mom's actually hilarious. She forgot her, she texted me 5 minutes, right? And then she was like, forgot my phone. 2 minutes. Bro, she's so funny. But no, another thing, dude, I think the problem people have is I think they're like, oh my gosh, there's nothing parents can do. These children are falling for the propaganda. When actually the problem is more so bad and misogynistic parents, and benevolently misogynistic parents that, again, as I explained so beautifully, lends itself to ending up in the actual misogyny pipeline. Okay, guys, my mother is here. I'm not going to put her on camera because she just has super long flight, super tired. You want to say hi, though?
Hi.
And also, do you agree with my take?
I agree that it's easier if you are not a misogynistic person to not raise a misogynistic son.
Yeah, and it's like quite simple, right? Like we were talking about, like,
I mean, there are things that you can't control, but if you are not a misogynist, your husband or the father is not a misogynist, then you're going to pick up on misogynistic behavior. And as a parent, you're just going to pay attention to that, thwart it,
hell yeah.
and pay attention to it. Kids go through stages, but it's our jobs as parents to make sure that they come out of them and they learn something from it. It's okay, they just have to learn, but no, you just don't let it happen.
She cooked. See, that's what I'm saying. Okay, also, I know I might get allegations. Mom, are you a white woman?
No.
Yeah, that's my mother, everybody. But anyways, now I am wrapping it up. Thank you. Actually, let me get big on you. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, everything I have to say. I love you so much. Wait, I'm so sorry for saying like, comment. Well, I've been forgetting that lately. Like, usually, Mom, my thing is I say I'm so sorry for saying like, comment, subscribe, because it's like, I feel weird like begging these people for something. So I'm just like, I'm so sorry. So yeah, I am so sorry. And I love you very much. Okay, have a great day, night, evening, morning.